2, 1. The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is The Angry Chicken.
Welcome back, everyone. This is indeed The Angry Chicken. I'm Garrett Weinzierl. He's Willie Dills Gregory. And sadly absent from this episode will be Jocelyn Moffat. She has a basement full of water that needs tending. Apparently basements can flood. Didn't know this?
Yeah.
Because we can't have basements in Florida.
Weird. Canada problems, I guess. I also had a weird experience in my place of living today.
Oh?
At about 8 a.m, I was woken up by police who were looking for a suspect and needed everyone to come out of their apartments.
Oh, damn, man. I was about to say, I hope they weren't looking for you.
No.
Come out, Willie Dills. We know you're in there.
I came outside in my boxers. I was just woken suddenly to loud knocking, and the guy was like, "Okay, just hang here. We're just looking for somebody, and just stand outside for a second while we figure out where they are." I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
Damn, dude.
And then the apartment, the parking lot was full of cop cars, all with their lights on. It was crazy. So somebody did something bad, and then fled to near me, I guess, and they were looking for him. And then apparently they were like, "Okay, we got him. Go back inside," and it was all over. So it was weird.
Wow. Well, I'm glad they decided not to hide in your apartment.
Yeah,
Which
that would have been unfortunate. You know, the guys who live below me are there's two guys. They're both ex-army guys, like recent army guys.
Yeah.
They would have been unfortunate for them if they decided to use either mine or their apartment because they are, I guess, heavily armed, you could say.
Well, it is Texas, and they are ex-military.
Texas and they're ex-military. So, yeah.
So
wherever they found to hide was better than
my
little building here in the complex. I feel very safe with these guys below me. I have to say that.
That's some X-Men 2 stuff. It's like I feel a great deal of sympathy for the poor soul that comes to this location looking for trouble, which is not a direct quote, but a horrible, horrible recantation. Oh, well, that's, I'm glad you're okay, man. Although I could just imagine you coming out into your living room, finding a stranger there and just be like, "Hey, man, you want to play Hearthstone?
What's up?
Let's play."
Yeah, Iggy would protect me, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think we'd be fine.
Iggy Pup would protect your entire abode. Oh, well, that's great. Well, we got a show for you today. There's some stuff happening in Arena this week. So I guess let's just stop beating around the bush and get right into it.
Good news, everyone!
Wildfest has begun, Dills. Did you know this?
Yes, I only knew because I am a streamer / Hearthstone podcaster who pays a lot of attention. But I did not know because there was an alert in my Hearthstone. Yes, there's been nothing. Nothing was said. Nothing was done. I did get 5 days ago on one of my accounts. I still had an arena run going, I guess, and I got a warning to finish it.
So at least you did get the warning. Okay.
So there was something. Yeah, there was some stuff, which then leads to the next thing. There was no free arena ticket awarded.
Yeah. So confirmed, no free arena run. But we are getting one for the Wild Fest Brawl.
We're getting one free Wild Brawl. What is it? Brawlnasium? Whatever it is. Anyway,
Brawliseum.
Yeah, Brawliseum.
Yeah.
There you go. We will get one for that.
Yes.
No, not for the Wild Arena itself.
Yeah, man. I didn't know this went live. It was like, I think a couple days. How long has it even been? I don't even know how long it's been up.
I think yesterday was the first day.
All right.
19th was the first day.
Well, I didn't realize until this morning. I
Yeah.
saw a tweet about it, and I got into the game, and I'm like, yeah, there's nothing in the game telling you that this is a thing. And when you click on Arena, it still doesn't tell you it's a thing. It just asks you for your money or your gold. There's some vines.
It is in the launcher. If you're on a PC, the launcher says that Wildfest is happening.
I don't pay attention to the launcher, but that's good.
Yeah.
Oh
I
no,
don't
actually,
either. But it says
it says it's coming. It still says it's coming.
Yeah. Even though it's here, it says it's coming.
It says from February 19th, which was yesterday, through March 11th. It's here, guys. You should probably update that.
Yeah.
That's what we're here
the
for.
Mammoth bundle is still in there, even though I don't even know if that's even still available. I did purchase it on one of my free to play accounts, which is now no longer free to play. But I was like, I mean, $20 for 30 packs. I should probably just go for this. So my EU account now has a decent chunk of new cards, which is kind of nice.
Nice, very nice. Yeah. Okay, so it is there. It just need to update it. So I just thought that was strange.
But here's the thing: how many players are playing on PC compared to mobile? I gotta feel like I don't know the technical numbers, but I would assume there's more people playing on mobile than on PC.
I think that's a really safe assumption.
Yeah.
Still, so
Yes.
I don't think we need to cover our butts on that one too much.
And they are of the more casual nature, most of them, I'm sure. And so it's, they're never going to see anything. They're either going to figure it out or not.
Right. Yeah, I just think
it's drafting and be like, why is there an Azure Drake being offered to me?
Yeah.
Or they don't play Arena and they're never going to notice. Ever.
Yeah. I just find it strange, man. It's just weird. Like they've done the work. We know that they can force pop-ups into the game. We see them now whenever there's a card change. We see them when there's an expansion to release. We even see, the kind of board state changes when there's other events going on. Like we had the floating embers during the Fire Festival and the like.
Sure.
So why not? I mean, why not do something of that nature?
Yeah, I know. It kind of boggles my mind a little bit because this feels like something they should be making a big deal about, right? Like this feels like, when we had the Fire Fest and all that kind of stuff, that felt like a bigger deal. But this is like Wild Fest. This is like them focusing on Wild for a brief period of time. And if you are a Wild player, this is very exciting for you. It's a little disappointing that there's just no fanfare.
Yeah,
it, right?
It's just you always see people talking about like, oh, Wild's an afterthought or Arena is an afterthought, and in this case, both of them feel like afterthoughts because there's no push from.
That being said, Wild Arena is incredibly fun, so I'm glad this is happening. I think just from a perspective of does this feel important? Yeah, them not mentioning it at all in the game feels like a little bit of a misstep.
Yeah. I played my first run this morning. Got up to 6 wins. Had a good time.
Nice.
I was sitting. I think I left you a message in our personal Slack channel being like, dude, Dollar on Aspirin is doing work for me this morning.
It's really fun to play with these cards because it feels fresh, and this also kind of speaks to like Arena could use this type of thing happening all the time.
Yeah, some type of refresh.
Just little changes, and it's kind of invigorated the community. I saw today Edwakta and Merps have updated their tier list for a 3-week event, which I'm sure was a lot of work for them. Hearth Arena updated their tool to work with the new cards. I was actually using it last night, testing some stuff out. Sometimes it takes a while to figure out which card is best because I think it's probably like all fresh algorithm stuff or whatever. But getting people energized. A bunch of people now, if you look at the Hearthstone subreddit, basically the entire front page is people talking about cool combos that they've discovered in Wild Arena, right?
Yeah.
And that's good. Like we've replaced, complaining about the cost of Hearthstone with people having fun playing Arena. That's awesome.
I mean,
it's definitely doing what it wants to do, this Wild Fest so far.
Yeah.
It's getting people, into the game again. And so, this kind of stuff needs to happen kind of regularly, I think, not just a one-off event, right?
Yeah. And advertise it. Like, let us know when we get into the game. Like, push us in that direction. That's
sure.
really my only.
Yeah, because Yeah, I guarantee there's tons of people playing who just have no idea. They don't read the launcher ever. They don't read the battle.net blog posts. They don't, And this is always a thing with like any game like this, is that a majority of your player base is always going to be of the fairly casual nature, right? Think of like World of Warcraft. Like, not 90% of the player base is not asking Dr. Robot the stuff, right? Like they're playing LFR and they get their piece of purple gear and then they mosey on out and that's fine. And like they're having a blast, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta like speak to those people directly, and the only way is through the game.
Mm-hmm. So any cards kind of pop into your mind that you had a really good time with in the few runs you've managed to pull off already?
So I had a couple of 7s and a 9 and a 10. I've been doing really well. The Kobolds and Catacombs meta is a little strange as far as arena goes. It's become very call and response, I guess you could say. Like it's, there's been a history in arena where the emphasis is on curving out, right? And then when they added more spells, when they changed the percentages of how things were kind of offered to you to make more spells, more epics, more rares, more legendaries, it changed everything pretty drastically to the point where it was like, okay, now it's much more about removal, getting one minion to stick, kind of playing the attrition game. Games went a lot longer. Kobolds and Catacombs has like even gone farther in that direction, I think, where it's less about curving out perfectly and more about just managing resources, right? What this has done is introduce back all of those TGT, GVG, all those cards that are just curve monsters. And it's much more now about, I have a really good 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. So that I think has been the number one thing that I've noticed. Although we also do still have the aspect that there are just more spells offered and more epics and legendaries. So it's kind of cool. It's like a nice middle ground between Curve Stone and Reaction Stone that like we don't have to be at one end of the spectrum. It's like you get best of both worlds. And I've won with decks that were super spell heavy. I had a mage deck that had 3 meteors and a flame strike and 2 polymorphs and flame lance, and all I really had as far as like minions were concerned was I had I think like a Nefarian and a couple other like large minions, a violet worm, just a few big minions, and basically all I did was just remove everything the opponent played and then like got my Nefarian to hit him like 3 times in a row. Or Keening Banshees. Oh my god, Keening Banshees. I've been winning so much with Keening Banshees. I actually tweeted about this last night. It's the 4-mana 5/5. So it's not quite like the Fel Reaver, but rather than when your opponent plays a card, you discard 3 cards, it's when you play a card. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have a little more control over that discard mechanic. But dude, people can't help themselves. You play a Keening Banshee, they ignore it. They never kill it, and they hope that you just fatigue yourself. And I go, no, I'm going to lose some cards, but I'm also going to hit you in the face for 5 every single turn, and you are going to be dead in like 5 turns. So,
yep,
it's been kind of fun. I've been really having a lot of fun playing Arena. That will be my stream basically tonight. Is just Arena.
I've always found the obsession or the overvaluing of burning cards off the top of someone's deck fascinating. I don't know why. Yeah. It's such a common mental trap.
People can't help themselves. Like if you go into like that Kingsbane rogue that is basically one of the actual viable rogue decks now that Tempo Rogue is kind of dead. There is the Spider Tempo Rogue that's kind of out there.
Less popular.
Yeah, it's but like right now Rogue is in a little bit of a weird spot. Like they were the ones most affected, I think, by the patches and Corridor Creeper nerfs. But I was playing on stream, and I was like, man, if somebody has an opportunity to mill some cards from my deck, they will do it, even if it is definitely the wrong move. And then I will win in the next 3 or 4 turns because they drew a bunch. They just gave me like 10 cards to work with. Yeah. And I burned a couple, but the thing is, like, people don't understand it's as if I just didn't draw those cards.
Right. It the only time it really wins you the game is if you win via fatigue. Like if you're burning the final cards out of someone's deck,
or if you burn like an Archmage Antonidas in a Quest Mage or something.
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
well,
Like,
that's the trap. That's the trap thinking, right? Though, because you're
but
just
I'm not
as likely.
Quest Mage. I was playing like the Jade Druid or something. So I'm just like, yeah, you just drew me all my Jade cards. Like now I just win.
Yeah, well, that's I think that's the crux of the trap line of thinking, which is you're just as likely to burn the cards in between the card they needed to win.
Yes,
and what was on top.
Draw into it. Yeah,
exactly. You have no control. You don't know what the cards on top of the deck are, so you're taking just as big of a risk that you're about to lose the game for yourself as you are about to win the game for yourself.
It's a very strange thing because people only remember the times when RNG lost them the game, and then they only remember the times when milling cards won them the game. Like they can't remember all those times they lost because they were milling cards.
I'm really guilty of only remembering when RNG loses me a game too.
Oh yeah, I've never had a knife juggler dagger go anywhere but face. I've never rolled a 3 or 4 implosion. I'm with you. I've only crackled for 3. RNG always goes against me.
It's true, but yeah, it's an interesting thing. But we're going to when we get into strategy today, we're gonna do something that we haven't done in a very, very long time, which is we're gonna talk through a full arena draft. We're gonna literally open the game and we're gonna go pick by pick for 30 picks and draft ourselves an arena deck. And really, I'm just excited to get to talk about some old cards.
Hopefully we get a lot of wild cards offered to us. Real quick, though, before we move on, I do want to mention that Wildfest being live is only one part of the weird random emphasis on wild that came out of nowhere. There is also the 2018 Hearthstone Wild Open, which I have
It is coming back.
And it's happening on Thursday, my qualifier. And there are 396 players signed up for this. This is the Americas one. Only 256 players can play, so I'm not really sure how this works.
I was about to say they've got more than they're allowing to play. So why are they letting? Can't you cap off the?
Well, I think these people are considered a waiting list.
Gotcha.
That's how we do it with the taco. Which oh, by the way. I need to just get my March schedule, and we will announce the next taco. By the way, it will happen in March, you guys. So I'm gonna play in this thing. I'm excited. I haven't sat there and grinded out decks. I have been playing a lot of Wild because I'm trying to earn high ranks in Wild and Standard this month, so that come March I can get Legend in both, and then hopefully just get Legend in both every single month. Like from here to eternity, and never see anything but rank 4 through Legend ever again. So I'm at like rank 6, I think, in Wild, and rank 4 in Standard right now. So I have been playing a decent amount of Wild, but I didn't really do a lot of research on like what maybe people would bring. So I have basically aggro Paladin, Giants Warlock, Secrets Burn Mage. These are just like the 3 kind of best decks going. So we'll see how we do.
Okay.
I'm not expecting much out of myself, but I figured I might as well show up for it and just give it a go.
Right, dude. Well, good luck. I like that lineup. That sounds solid. No pull, no peanuts pull like to the Reno side.
These are good decks, right? So
no pull to the Reno side.
I'm not doing any milkshaking. I'm not. Yeah, we're not memeing the tournament. We're just gonna play basically the 3 like top tier decks. The Paladin is a very interesting deck. It's
what does aggro Paladin look like in the wild?
But it runs. So
you get old Murkai.
Can happen. What's that?
You get old Murkai. You get access to old Murkai.
Yeah, you get Murkai back, but so you run anything can happen, 2 of those, and so you have this like finisher. But then it kind of works like an aggro deck, where because of call to arms, recruiting minions out of your deck and thinning your deck, and then you also play Mysterious Challenger, and a bunch of secrets. So you pull those out of your deck. You basically always draw your entire deck.
Man.
So you just like always get to the anything can happen. But because it works like an aggro deck, sometimes you just don't need that, and you just kill people on like turn 5 or 6 because you're just playing a lot of dudes.
And if you don't, you draw your entire deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I need to try that because I was gonna actually I forgot I was gonna ask you at the top of the show if at least as far as standards is concerned, if you're playing anything new or interesting, because I've just stuck with the aggro Murloc Paladin. It's working. I am actually climbing. I was jumping around a lot and going nowhere, so it's like forget it.
It is one of the best options still. Right now, it feels like the best deck is just Control Warlock, right? So you're not running the Doom Guards. You're not running cubes. You're just running like ways to get Void Lords in play and then make more and more Void Lords.
Yeah, it was the original version of the Void Lord deck that kind of popped out.
And originally. Even though there's a lot of the Secret Mage out there, that deck is still number one because it heals so much that even when they burn you, you're like, yeah, I don't care because I'm going to heal for like 45 this game, so it's fine. But there is a new Hunter deck running around that's kind of interesting, and I played it, and it is super fun. It's like a Secrets Hunter that then also runs Katharina Winterwisp and King Crush and Violet Worm, and sometimes you just get these crazy openers with Cloaked Huntress where you just play one secret.
That's what I ran into that deck once. I was just like, Katharina Winterwisp into Violet Worm. What the hell is going on here?
Because sometimes that just happens and you just win the game because of that. But sometimes you just win because you just play a Cloak Huntress and then you're playing like 6 mana worth of secrets for free and you just kind of run people over from there, right? So it's kind of got like a early game win condition and a late game win condition, so you can kind of adjust based on what your draw is and what your opponent is playing. The problem with the deck is it just gets smashed by the aggro paladins. So because the version that is most popular right now doesn't run Explosive Trap or Unleash the Hounds, so there's no way to deal with big boards ever. Which I adjusted. I put those cards back in.
I would say actually,
you can't do this.
I want to say the one game I played against that deck, they had Unleash in there. I did not come across.
I think people are taking it back in because Paladin is so popular right now.
Yeah.
You basically can't have that be an auto loss because you're going to run into Paladin like, I don't know, 20 to 30% of the time.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like I actually hit 2 hunters in the last few games. So yeah, I'm not sure.
It's funny because I think it's a better deck. So somebody basically played it to like a pretty high legend ranking, and I think it probably is a better deck in those scenarios because you are picking on people who are just hard running, like just the Control Warlock and stuff like that, and obviously the Hunter hero power is very good against them. So, but if you're trying to go against people who are climbing, a lot of people are playing the aggro paladin, and it is terrible against that deck. There's also I don't know if you've seen this, the Dude Paladin list with Crystal Lions.
Yeah, I tried it. I really like it. It's a lot of fun, but Murloc Paladin is just easier when I'm just grinding.
Yeah, it's a more difficult deck to play, and it also it has these insane like nut draws where everything just lines up perfectly, and you steamroll people, and then it has way more times where everything just never comes together.
Yeah,
right?
my
Murloc Paladin kind of seems to always have a decent shot.
I think my first 3 games playing Dude Paladin, I basically drew backwards. It felt like Dragon Priest when you don't draw right, when you don't draw in the order you need to, which is weird because it's not a curve deck as much, but it's still important. Like there's still some high cost cards in that Dude Paladin deck that you do not want to see anywhere near your opening hand.
It's also very difficult when anybody just has any AoE, whereas Murloc Paladin, you can buff your Murlocs a little bit and they stick around.
Yep,
so,
and I probably have Redemption up because Hydrologist.
Yeah, it has a much more it's more vulnerable. So it's the most popular version of Paladin according to HS Replay.
Yes,
so
and also the winningest deck archetype in the game right now, according to HS Replays.
Yeah, over like the last 7 days or something like that.
Yeah. And insert your asterisks here about how it's not a perfect statistic,
Sure,
yada, yada, but it's all we have, and there's a lot of games played, so it's a good tool to pull from.
It's cool though, like that what has happened, and this is what we kind of hoped for, right? When the changes were made, that what happened is new decks were created, entire new archetypes were created, right? So that's what you're looking for. I hope that this kind of continues on forever. Is that what they do? Is they do expansion, and then like a month and a half or so into the expansion, balance changes, and then you get like 2 seasons per expansion, right?
Yeah,
pretty sweet.
I'm enjoying it. I like Paladin though, so but I'm also enjoying Secret Mage, and I don't usually like playing Mage, so I'm kind of enjoying 2 of the most popular decks right now. But anyways, hey, before we move into drafting an arena deck live on the show, we have a sponsor to thank today. Dills, Harry's is back sponsoring this episode of The Angry Chicken. You should go check out their offerings over at harrys.com/TAC. But we've mentioned them many times if you haven't heard already. They are the razor purveyor that has converted all 3 of us here, actually. We've all gotten samples from Harry's, and we have all continued using their razors. We're pretty big fans here.
Oh yeah, Harry's is the jam.
Yeah.
They're not locked behind glass in your local Walgreens. They just come right to your door. It's great, and they're far higher quality than all that stuff behind glass. Weirdly, because apparently that's what people steal is razors.
Yes, yeah. The quality and the quality and the cost are exactly where I want them to be, which is high on the quality, low on the cost. And you can try them out for free. They are still offering their free trial offer, which you can get by going to harrys.com/TAC. It's a $13 value. The only thing you have to cover is shipping. You get a weighted ergonomic handle. You get one of their 5 precision engineered blade cartridges that also has a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade for your hairy shoulders. You also get rich leathering shave gel and a travel blade cover for when you're on the go. So go check it out. If you want to get that free trial set, go to harrys.com/TAC. That again is harrys.com/TAC, and we thank them for supporting today's show. Now let's see if we get lucky.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay.
I was going to cue a transition there, but Hearthstone just loaded. There it is. Yay. So yeah, I other than Darnassus Aspirant, I think Unstable Portal was the other card this morning that I was like, oh, I missed
that
you.
was smashing for you.
I missed you, Unstable Portal. Even when I mostly got low end, like low cost minions, and I was just like, well, it's a 0 mana minion with more stats than a 0 mana minion should have. So sweet.
Sure.
But let's go ahead and go into the arena that has not been marked for wild. And look, I want to buy in, and it still doesn't mention wild. It just has vines. All right.
Well, it's got the vines, so at least there's something, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, our options for heroes are
interesting thing here. I don't actually know how this has changed the hero tier list, which classes are the best. But I think all 3 of these are probably all still pretty good because they're just good.
Yeah, so for the audio listeners, our choice of heroes is Paladin, Rogue, and Mage. So I'm just kind of sitting here thinking to myself, damn, this is what I wish I saw every time.
Yeah, I would guess that if you're bringing back all those old cards, that Paladin might be the best one because there's some pretty freaking good Paladin cards in the GBG set. But Rogue and Mage you can't really go wrong with because them hero powers are so good.
Yeah.
I personally have the best success with Rogue, but
well, I did Mage this morning, so I would lean that way.
Yeah. Also, Rogue just feasts on Paladin, and if Paladin is pretty good, then you would probably want Rogue because essentially your hero power equals 2 of theirs, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go with Valera.
Let's do it.
Let's see. So our first round is our epics. It's Biteweed, Frost Giant, or Dragon Hatcher.
All right, these are terrible.
Yep. Not excited.
Oh man,
Frost Giant.
I mean, you could take a flyer on Dragon Hatcher and then hope and pray that you get some dragons, but man,
You're also hoping and praying that they're big dragons because you're paying 9 mana for Dragon Hatcher.
I know. I think you probably got to take the Frost Giant because you probably will hero power. If you hero power 3 times, it's a 7 mana 8/8, right?
Right.
The problem is you're rogue and you're hero powering. Okay, it will force you to start using your dagger to just hit face is what will happen. But I think you probably just have to take the Frost Giant.
Yeah, I think so.
But, yeah.
I'm like bite weed. There's a chance we get that to work, but I'm not excited about it.
Even when you get it to work, it's never that good. It's like people called it like mini Van Cleef, but it is super mini Van Cleef because it never gets that big.
Yeah, it turns out
always like a 3/3.
Turns out we want more stats for our combo.
Yeah.
I lost a game so hard earlier today to an early huge Van Cleef.
I mean, the thing is, you will be hero powering as a rogue because your dagger is so freaking good. So
we're not going to spend 10 mana for an 8/8 on Frost Giant, and that's what's important.
Yeah, you'll end up spending probably 7 or 8, and whatever. And it's nice sometimes just to throw a big dude onto the board in arena.
All right, so a round of epics into another round of epics. None of these are wild specific, though. We've got Blubber Baron, Corpse Taker, and Rummaging Kobold.
So Corpse Taker is probably the technical best of these cards, but we don't have. Well, first of all, we're rogue, which cuts down on our chances to pick up Lifesteal, Divine Shield, and Windfury cards. And also we just don't have those yet because it's the second pick. I think we're probably pretty likely to to find lots of Battlecry cards that we like. So I don't actually mind Blubber Baron. I think that card can sometimes be insane. Sometimes you get like a 3 mana 5/5 and then you just run away with the game.
Yeah. Again, I'm not losing my mind over these cards. So
no. Rummaging Kobold is not really that good because in Rogue we don't generally actually pick weapons. We just use our dagger most of the time.
Gotcha. All right. So.
Ooh, we got some wild cards here.
Yeah, we do. We've got Huge Toad, Mechanical Yeti, and Sprint. So I like all these cards for different reasons.
Yeah. So here's an interesting thing about when you draft Rogue. When you draft Rogue, 2 drops are less important than other classes because daggering on 2 is totally okay. In fact, it's actually really good. So 1 and 3 drops become much more important when you're drafting Rogue. So normally, I would just say Huge Toad go, right? Because 2 drop. But I think in Rogue, there's an argument you can make for Mech Yeti because spare parts are pretty good in Rogue. They're combo activators, and 2 drops are less important. So I think there's an argument to be made for either one. Sprint, I don't think you ever take because even though it's a fine card in Arena, because reloading is often pretty good in late game top decking wars and stuff. We don't know if our deck is going to be built for that or not yet. So.
Yeah, that and it's up against 2 Curvestone cards.
Yeah, it's up against 2 actual decent minions.
Yep.
So I honestly would leave this one up to you. I might lean Mech Yeti here.
I lean Mech Yeti as well for the reasons you stated. Spare parts plus Rogue is just great, and giving your opponent a spare part, that's fine. If they're not a Rogue as well, it's not as good for them as it is for you.
Sure. Yep.
So I'm gonna lock in that Mech Yeti, and we've got more epics. Being generous with the epics, so we've got Dark Speaker, Sabotage. There's a wild card for you, and Carnivorous Cube.
Yeah, we don't have anything that we want to cube.
But it's
Dark
golden
Speaker
bills.
Is a battle cry, so it does affect our Blubber Baron, but Sabotage can just be insane sometimes, I think.
Yeah. Removal is solid.
Yeah, and also if you can hit a weapon and a minion, then that could just win a game, right?
Yeah. I mean, weapons are still king in Arena, so
yeah, they're still out there.
All right, yeah, go with the Sabotage. All right, we got another, so many epics. Another Blubber Baron has shown up, a Vile Spine Slayer, and Evasion. So again, no wild cards here.
Well, Vile Spine Slayer says kill a minion, so let's kill a minion.
Yeah,
that card is just too good.
Yep. All right, so we got Master of Disguise, Ancient Shade, and Elven Minstrel.
So Ancient Shade is a threatening card because 7 attack means you're dealing a lot of damage when it actually hits face. But the 4 health means that it often doesn't hit face. Master of Disguise could be interesting if we had a minion we really wanted to stealth. Maybe you could say that the Frost Giant is that, but not really.
No.
Elven Minstrel draws 2 cards. I think we probably want that.
I want the card draws, especially since we already passed on a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our next picks are Tainted Zealot, Bloodfen Raptor, Shadowpan Rider. There's
the Shadowpan Rider.
A blast from the past. Yeah, 5 mana, 3/7 with a combo that reads gain +3 attack if you either miss TGT or don't remember this card at all because it didn't make it into constructed decks.
But it was always a pretty solid arena card, and it still is. And I think we pick it because I think the way that our deck is looking right now, we are kind of a control rogue at the moment. We have Sabotage of Vilespine. We have an Elven Minstrel to draw some cards. We have a Frost Giant. I think we're kind of just playing for the late game.
It all comes down to that Frost Giant.
Yeah. So I think what we want to be doing is we just want to be throwing giant threatening minions on the board at a certain point in the game. And a 5 mana 6/7 is that.
Yeah.
We will need to find some low cost cards to activate these combos now. Because we do have
we'll just always go second.
4 combo cards at the moment.
Yeah, it's fine, Dills. We'll just always go second.
Sure, okay.
And we'll always draw Shadowpan Rider, and we will always play it on turn 4.
If we find a counterfeit coin, we are picking that bad boy.
Yeah, I like it. All right. So Shadowpan Rider, welcome back to the game from DGT. Welcome back.
And like I said earlier, too, like 2 drops are less important. Because I think in a lot of other classes, you would really seriously look at that Razorfin Raptor, right? Like that would be a serious consideration.
Yep. All right. So again, all standard legal cards now: Fan of Knives, Corrosive Sludge, and Ironforge Rifleman.
So Rifleman is the worst, I think, of these cards. Even though it's funny that a ping effect in Arena is actually really strong. So I really like the Murloc that pings, the 2 mana 2/1 Murloc that pings, and I really like
Sniper?
Elven Archer. It's something sniper or something like that, right? And I really like 1 mana 1/1 that pings. But 3 mana 2/2, this is like the worst pinging minion that's out there.
Plus, it's up against a board-wide ping that draws you a card.
Yeah, I think I would pick Phantom Knives or Corrosive Sludge every time. I think because we have Sabotage, we don't really need to double dip into weapon removal. So, yeah, Phantom Knives can come in really handy sometimes.
All right, let's grab it then. And our next picks are Murloc Tidehunter, Leeching Poison, and Duskboar. Nothing too wild about this either.
No. Murloc Tidehunter is just the most stats we can get for our 2 mana. These are all just 2 mana whatever cards.
Yep. And
Tidehunter is at least just 2 bodies, right?
Yep. So. Spread out. So take the Tidehunter. Our next group, bunch of rares: Arcane Nullifier from GVG, if you remember that card, Sunwalker, and Bone Drake.
So Sunwalker and Bone Drake are both super solid. I kind of lean towards Bone Drake because I like cards that contain other cards in Arena. They're just value generators, right?
I like it too when you're running larger minions in Arena. Bone Drake tends to soak up removal.
Sure. And then it just gives you a dragon, right? Like, so sometimes you get Bone Drake and then you get Ysera and stuff like that. So I think Bone Drake, like Sunwalker, is super good because it's a wall, right? But
yeah,
if it dies, then you don't get anything on the back end. And when Bone Drake dies, you get another card, right?
Yeah.
This is a super strong effect. This is something that's kind of overlooked in Arena is cards that give you cards are just solid all the time because they just generate the value, right? It keeps going. So
yeah. No, I do not regret drafting the 9 mana 2/4 chat room. I do not, because
that would have still been terrible.
This is a 6 mana card that I can just play way earlier in the game.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So I lean towards Bone Drake as well. I like to think of it as like if you were looking at Sunwalker versus Bone Drake, what happens if both of these die? Well, it's better if Bone Drake dies versus Sunwalker dying. If they get silenced or they get transformed, it's the same across the board. But Bone Drake tips the scales for me because of the fact that I want it to die. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take Bone Drake.
It also hits face for 6, which is more than 4.
Yep, and it also gives us the option of another Bone Drake in our next selection, apparently. We got Bone Drake, Kobold Illusionist, and Mindbreaker. Another, not standard legal picks, but picks nonetheless.
I think Bone Drake is just the easy is just the easy pick here.
I don't hate.
Kobold Illusionist is kind of a memey weird card that if we had a deck built around it, you could maybe justify it. But yeah, apparently we're a Dragon Rogue now. So
apparently, I do like Mindbreaker. I want to mention I liked how much health is on that dude.
Sure.
I could care less about the hero powers being disabled.
Well, oftentimes too, you'll get more value out of Mindbreaker as a rogue because you hero power and then you have a 2-turn thing. That's there.
It's already
You don't
online.
have to hero power again.
It's
The other
sitting there
guy
waiting.
it'll be more of an impact to him not being able to hero power. So
Yeah.
but it's up against Bone Drake.
Yep.
and
Yep.
Bone
Yeah.
Drake is,
We're taking the Bone Drake. Now we're looking at a Razor Petal Lasher versus a Tuskar Fisherman versus a Dalaran Mage.
So remember how we talked about we needed ways to activate combo things?
Yeah, Razor Petal Lasher is exactly that.
It is a perfect way to do that. And deal 1 damage is also really useful. Not just for activating combos, but for finishing things off.
And it's also up against 2 pretty not interesting cards.
Yeah, like the Tuskar Fisherman is fine because it's 2-mana 2/3, but Razor Petal Lash, again, it's a card that gives you another card, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And with the combos that we're sitting on, we want that. We really do. So our next group is Blackwater Pirate versus Shadow Sensei versus Jeeves, coming to us back from GVG. Which I gotta read Jeeves out. If you don't remember Jeeves, this is a GVG mech card that is a 4-mana 1/4 that reads at the end of each player's turn, that player draws until they have 3 cards. Jeeves was a really cool card back in the day, especially for Zulaks or anyone that were just emptying their hands every turn.
Egg Druids were the ones who played a lot of Jeeves.
Yeah.
Because they would just empty their hand and then refill with Jeeves.
Some of them still do.
Plus, it was a 1/4 that you could buff with all your like AoE buff spells and stuff.
Yeah.
In Arena, though, it's not great because it's a 4-mana 1/4. So I think we just take the 4-mana 4/4. And sometimes, if we can find a stealth minion, sometimes in the future, we will actually get this battle cry to do stuff. But most of the time, it's the best 4-mana body of these 3.
Slightly more likely to find stealth minions and rogue, so sure. But yeah.
Well, also, we have Mech Yeti, which can maybe give us the stealth spare part.
Oh, that's right. You are correct. So Shadow Sensei, 4-mana 4/4, maybe get an upside off a stealth buff.
Yeah.
Being added to our deck. So now we got Daenerys.
And if we see any stealth minions, now we suddenly have potential synergy. Right?
So next group of choices is Daenerys Hogchopper versus Ventrico Merc versus Frigid Snowballed, which is an old TGT card.
So the Daenerys Hogchopper is like the worst of the the hogs on hogs. I think the 5-mana one being the best one because it's very likely that we'll find a situation where there's a taunt minion on board, but their hand being empty, while it does occur in Arena sometimes, it's a hard thing to kind of navigate towards. I think our deck can do with the Ventrico Merc because, like we were talking about earlier, we're a little bit of a control style.
Yeah. I also, Ventrico Merc will forever be cemented in my memory as one of the very first times you ever schooled me on Arena because I was like, Ventrico Merc is terrible. And you're like, what's wrong with you?
It's just a 5-mana 7/6.
But
right?
your minions, your minions cost 3 more dills. And you're like, yeah, but you're hitting them in the face for 7.
Yeah. Yeah, you just put a solid clock on them. Frigid Snowball, we don't have enough spells to even consider, I don't think.
No, at the moment it's empowering Fan of Knives and the spell we get off of Razor Petal Lasher.
Yeah, that's not
enough.
It.
So yeah, I'm on board for the Ventrico Merc. Our next 3 choices: Scorpomatic versus Shadowblade versus Nerubian Egg, an MVP from the Naxxramas days.
Yeah, Nerubian Egg is an interesting card, but we don't have Cold Bloods, and we don't have any way to ever buff it. Right?
No. Yeah, it was an MVP in Constructed. It depends in Arena. You need ways to give it attack.
And Scorpomatic kills 1 minion, whereas Shadowblade can kill 2. So I think we always just take the weapon.
I like Shadowblade as well. 3 attack on a weapon. I mean, it's Fiery War Axe now after the nerf with an upside.
With a little healing, yeah.
Yep, because you're going to be immune the turn you attack with it. Our next group is Journey Below versus Phantom Freebooter versus Murloc Tidecaller.
So Phantom Freebooter can be a Yeti if you can hero power the turn before you play it.
It can be, and we just picked up a 3/2 weapon.
Yeah, but the problem is it requires you to do that to be a decent card, right? I think Journey Below just is a decent card. And
paying 1 mana to discover a Death Rattle card, so we'll have a choice of 3, not to mention just the 1 mana triggers.
Just being a 1
combo.
mana card, which helps us do some comboing, I think is also really powerful. So
yeah,
I think we just take Journey Below here. There's also some really good Death Rattle cards out there. You can get.
We're also
since it's wild again, you can get a Nubarak. Ooh.
we're peaking right now. If you look at our curve, it is like equal distribution with the highest amount of cards in the 4-stack slot. So
literal bell curve right now.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the lower cost cards right now because we still have combos we need to concern ourselves with.
We really want to find 1 mana cards because we want to go like 1 mana do something, 2 mana hero power, 3 mana start doing more stuff. Right?
All right, Dill. So now we have. Oh, this is interesting. We have Cavern Shiny Finder. And we do have that Shadowblade chilling. We have Ravasaur Runt, or we have Blackwing Corruptor. Which, if you don't remember this card, this was from BlackRock. It's a 5 mana 5/4 that reads: if you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage. We've got 2 Bone Drakes chilling in our deck.
Bone Drakes that find us other dragons, right? So this card to me reads 5 mana, win the game if you have a dragon in your hand, because that is such a strong effect when it actually happens.
Yeah.
I think we take it, man. I think it's too powerful when it happens.
The universe is telling us something here.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna pick that,
and we're gonna look for more dragons.
Yes, we are. But right now we're looking at a Stampeding Kodo versus Furbolg Mossbinder versus Unearthed Raptor. Unearthed Raptor being the wild card here.
We have Bone Drakes, and we have Journey Below, and we have Mech Yeti. So we have potentially four battle or Death Rattles, right?
Oh, you're right. So Unearthed Raptor, which to remind our listeners, if you weren't around or have forgotten about it, it's a 3 mana 3/4 with a battle cry where you get to choose a friendly minion and gain a copy of its Death Rattle. So it's a 3 mana 3/4, which already in Arena puts it in the green, and it has a solid effect.
Like, I really like Stampeding Kodo, but I also think right now we need more. We need 3s more than we need 5s, and a 3 mana 3/4 is just fine, even if we can't get it to go off.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's Unearthed Raptor.
I lean that way as well. We're kind of writing the deck now. We're letting what cards we have locked in dictate our picks, which I always enjoy.
Exactly. At this point, we're 18 picks in, so now we're like, we have a direction, right? And we want to maintain that direction.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to read the cards out here for the hell of it. It is Eviscerate versus Grim Necromancer versus Elven Archer, but Eviscerate.
There's only one card here.
Yeah.
It's Eviscerate.
Eviscerate. Yep. Also, none of these are wild cards, so we don't really need to go deep. All right. Oh, we got some legendaries, Dills, and it's Shifter Xeris, sorry, buddy, versus Prince Tal'Daram, sorry, versus the Lich King.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So in
Arthas.
Arena, Lich King is one of the best possible. Like there's like Sylvanas, Ragnaros, Ysera, Lich King. Like these all kind of stand out on their own as just being insane value generators, and Lich King is one of the top, one of the very best. Deathwing would be another one that's just like super freaking good in Arena. But yeah, you cannot pass up on a Lich King.
No, you cannot. So locking Lich King in, our next group is the sadly recently nerfed Corridor Creeper versus Validated Doomsayer versus Rummaging Kobold. So all standard legal cards.
This is a rough one here. Corridor Creeper is still kind of okay because the 0 mana 2/5 is still a thing. Like you just are putting a body on board.
Now we're not swimming in low cost minions though. So if we start with Corridor Creeper, how many minions are really dying? I hate Rummaging Kobold slightly less because we got Shadowblade in our deck now versus at the very beginning of our draft when we saw him pop up.
Validated Doomsayer just doesn't happen enough. Like it doesn't go off enough. And sure, 5 mana 7/7 can be pretty sweet, but I think because we have the Shadowblade, we just take the Kobold, you know?
Yeah, it's low cost.
Playing another Shadowblade is just going to be pretty strong for us.
Yeah. Oh, this feels bad, but I have to agree with you.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but I think we're just making the best of a bad a bad pack here, and that's going to happen sometimes in Arena.
We also
it's
just
like
got
these choices though. Actually, they kind of define how well your deck does, right?
Yeah, like
because
last turn it was just Lich King. Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
There's no skill in that decision.
Yeah. Now, Alonzo in the chat is correct. Sometimes you'll just get a dagger back, which is unfortunate too. You get a wicked knife or whatever, but that's okay.
Right. That's why I said I hate it slightly less.
Yeah.
Now that we have a Shadow Blade, but
it's basically gonna have a chance to give you a Shadow Blade, which is pretty cool. So
yeah.
I don't know.
My brain is
I think
still
it's
like
probably the pick.
flicking between Creeper and this, but given our
Creeper,
deck,
I wouldn't hate as a pick.
yeah.
It still is going to be a fairly cheap, but you are correct. We don't have a lot of cheap minions, although we do have Murloc Tidehunter.
Oh, that's right. So that would be two deaths
minions that
right
would
there.
die.
If we get it early.
It might be the pick. It might be the pick.
I'm gonna go with Creeper.
All right.
I'm going with Creeper. If for whatever, it's just a gut. It feels slightly less bad.
Sure.
All right, some weird picks here. So we've got Cheat Death versus Thunder Lizard versus Stone Skin Gargoyle.
These are bad. I don't think. Do we have any elementals? We have 0, don't we?
Yeah, 0 elementals.
Yeah.
0.
Okay, so Thunder Lizard is just a 3-mana 3/3, which is not good. Stone Skin Gargoyle is a 3-mana 1/4, which we don't have ways to buff.
I mean, it's basic. If it doesn't die, it's essentially a ping available to you
It's
every
like an
turn.
extra ping a turn.
Yeah, I don't hate Stone Skin Gargoyle.
But I do think
Cheat Death.
we have enough strong value minions that a Cheat Death is actually okay.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Cheat Death.
Like, we don't have a bunch of cheap minions that would suck to get this secret to go off on, right?
Yep.
If we get to go off on like Bone Drake or Lich King or Vile Spine Slayer or Shadowpan Rider or Blackwing Corruptor, like any of those things, it's actually really strong. So
yeah, any of the Death Rattle minions would be good.
yeah, I think you got to take the Cheat Death here.
Yep. I was leaning that way, so I
Yeah.
agree. Okay, so we've got Dancing Swords coming to us from Naxxramas, which was the 3-mana 4/4 with a Death Rattle that makes your opponent draw a card. We also versus Assassin's Blade and Deadly Poison.
So Assassin's Blade is it's funny because you look at this card and you think, that's got to be pretty good. But the problem is that on turn 5, it doesn't usually kill very much because it only deals 3 damage. And the fact that it has 4 charges, it's just like, I don't know, it stays around forever not killing things. Like, it's just not that good. I think Deadly Poison is much stronger because it enables combos. It happens earlier in the game when it actually does kill things. It's just, I think, the pick here.
Yeah, we want to. I would lean towards Dancing Swords if we had a more aggressive curve, but we don't.
Yeah, if we were like killing the opponent, we would take a 3-mana 4/4 and start smashing their face with it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not really doing that. We're just playing giant dudes and killing their stuff.
Yep, and we also want to enable our combos. Once again, just reiterating that. So I am in the camp of Deadly Poison.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just always been a big fan of the illustration on this card.
So. It's a really good card, man.
Yeah. All right, our next group are Arcanosmith versus Reckless Rocketeer versus Fungal Mancer.
So Reckless Rocketeer is actually an okay card in Arena because it's like mini Leroy. Right?
Yeah, it's the Leroy you can kind of actually find in your draft.
Yeah. That being said, I've found Fungal Mancer to be kind of an MVP in Arena. It's Defender of Argus plus. You don't get the taunt, but you get one more stat on each of those minions, and oftentimes it allows you to just trade. Like you like once you get, if you can get it to land on 2 minions, you just like win. It snowballs into a victory.
Do we think we can get it to land on 2 minions in this deck specifically, though? Because
that would be the problem with the deck. Or with the card, is that it might be a little bit difficult because we might not be a deck that's always got tons of minions around. Yeah. But we also do have a lot of like removal options right now and stuff, so we might just be ahead on board often enough that Fungal Mancer does land. So I don't know. I think It's never Arcano Smith. It's either Reckless Rocketeer.
Yeah. Now I lean Fungalmancer only because we're looking like a slow deck. And Fungalmancer it's greedy, but our deck is greedy. And
but also like the thing about Reckless Rocketeer is we don't have like burst damage really. Like we have the one Eviscerate.
Then that's
the Reckless Rocketeer gives us a way to sometimes just actually like finish the game off, right?
Yeah, we might just need 5 damage.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's this one's kind of interesting. This one's I think there's arguments for both of these picks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely correct. Fungalmancer would be much better in a more minion centric, like spread out, sticky minion, multiple minion type deck. But
yeah. I think you started bringing me over to the Rocketeer side of things because you're right. We have a Vis, and then what are we doing beyond that? Hoping the Lich King gives us a Death Knight card that helps us end.
Sure.
Like I don't.
Or we're hoping to get some damage out of like Venture Co-Merc or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, but I like the idea of giving ourselves a little guaranteed damage.
Yeah.
So let's grab the
Plus it's
Rocketeer.
golden.
Yeah, and it's gold. Yeah, you're right. All right, so Cold Blood versus Mogashan Warden versus Assassinate. Again, all standard legal. Not a ton of wild cards.
Not yet, but we do. I mean, we have some in there.
Some
like
oldies
Venture
but
Co-Merc
goodies.
is like a blast from the past.
Yeah.
You gotta take Assassinate, right?
Yeah, I think
Assassinate
so.
just kills
The
something.
only thing that makes me hesitate is we already have a straight up removal, but what's wrong with more straight up removal?
Yeah, if you can just kill things in arena, you just do it.
Yep.
Cold Blood would be a decent pick though too.
Yeah. All right, our next choices are Zealous Initiate versus Thunder Lizard, back again, versus Jade Shuriken.
So the problem is we don't have a lot of Jade cards, but even just dealing 2 damage and making a 1/1 is better than the other 2 cards.
Right. Thunder Lizard and Zealous Initiate are kind of crap. Thunder Lizard wouldn't be crap if we had elementals, but we don't, so it's crap.
But we don't. And we're not going to get any at this point. We have 5 picks left, so.
Yep, so we're taking that Jade Shuriken, and now we're looking at a Plague Scientist going up against a Tomb Pillager, which was a rogue MVP back in the League of Explorers days, versus Direwolf Alpha. We just go for Tomb Pillager, right? It gives us a coin.
Yeah, Tomb Pillager is just an absolute nuts card.
Yeah, so if you don't remember
also,
this...
it's 1 more Death Rattle for our Unearthed Raptor. It's another card that's really good with our Cheat Death. Gives us a coin, which activates combos. It's just way too good. Plague Scientist, though, is pretty solid, but we don't have enough small minions that turning into Assassinate minions would be great on, right?
Yeah, it's like we hope our Murloc Tidehunter token lives, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly.
By the way, for those of you home, if you don't remember, Tomb Pillager is a 4-mana 5/4 with a Death Rattle that adds a coin to your hand. This is back in the League of...
coins are really good in Rogue.
Yes. Yes, it is, especially in our deck with all those combos. All right, so we've got another Vile Spine Slayer, which I think we're taking, up against a Doomerang, up against Wind Up Burglebot. This is a mech that isn't from GVG in Wild Arena.
This is the weirdest mech ever, too. It's 6 mana 5/5. It attacks a minion and survives. You draw a card, but you pay 6 mana for a 5/5 that then has to live a turn, that then has to attack something that it doesn't die to. So many things have to happen right for that card. But this pick has Vile Spine Slayer in it, so we're always taking that.
Yeah.
You never pass up on this card in Arena. It is so freaking good. You kill a thing and you put a thing on the board all at once.
Yep, of course. So we're grabbing it. So down to our 28th pick, Narabar Weblord from the Naxxramas days up against another Naxxramas card we've already seen, the Stoneskin Gargoyle up against Backstab.
Backstab.
We're here for Wild, but we gotta take the Backstab.
Backstab is friggin' like super tippy top tier in Arena.
Yep.
Because you generate so much early game pressure when you get that. So this is our last pick, right?
Yep, final pick. Headcrack versus One-Eyed Cheat. If you don't remember this from GVG, it's a 2-mana 4/1 pirate that reads whenever you summon a pirate gain stealth. We don't have any pirates. Versus Eater of Secrets.
Huh.
This is a stinky selection here.
It is not great, but okay, Paladin, Mage.
Yeah, am I leaning towards
Hunter
Eater of
and
Secrets?
Rogue all now have secrets, and they're all pretty good in Arena. So I think you just take the Eater of Secrets, and sometimes it's awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great, but I think you're right.
Yeah, sometimes it'll win you the game, and when it does, it's going to be great.
Yeah, the question The question I never want to ask is Eater of Secrets the correct choice?
Yeah, I know.
And sadly, I'm asking that question right now, and I think the answer is yes.
It's necessary here.
Yep. So we're grabbing that Eater of Secrets, and that completes our deck. So we're going to do something kind of weird, too. I'm going to not play this, and next week, before the Angry Chicken, we're going to have our next triple-headed chicken stream, and we'll just take this deck out for a spin. So only constructed for me this week. Only constructed for me.
You're going to have to sit on this awesome rogue deck. I think this deck has a lot of potential, man.
I'm really stoked to play it.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to wait, but...
I know. I kind of just want to play it after the show.
We have a show to finish, and then, posting and dinner and stuff like that. But, yeah.
Give me, real quick, too. Give me 1 second. My dog is going crazy. I got to put him in his crate or something, so I'll be right back.
Sure thing. I'll pause the recording for the audio folks, but you VOD folks, you'll just have to hang out with us. But just look at this deck. Oh, look at this. It's wonderful. I'm really excited to play this deck. This looks fun. It's a little heavier than I like my arena decks to be, but there's some serious power in this deck. And yeah, you're right. We got a lot of epic choices. I mean, what did we end up with? 1, 2. What would we leave off with? 3, 4, 5. 5 epics and a legendary in this draft. 2 1 game, just the tip. I don't know, man. We'll see. We still got a show to finish, a show to complete. Oh, it's going to be hard not to just play this deck immediately after the show. Maybe we'll do 1 game. Maybe you can talk us into it. As long as we can wrap up relatively quickly. All right. Well, if Dills is gone, I'm going to take a quick break and grab a drink. I'm going to find you some music of non-getting flagged by YouTube variety, which usually means Warcraft soundtrack. And I'll be right back.
All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, I'm going to go run and grab a drink real fast. You entertain
Freaking
folks.
out on me.
I'll be right back. I was going to go run and grab a drink.
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Do 1 game. Yeah, we should probably play 1 game of it after the show, maybe. Just because people who watch this draft it's like giving them blue balls, right?
All right, I've returned.
All right. What do you think? I think we should do 1 game of it after the show.
Oh yeah. I can't stop. I can't. It's like I just opened a sweet ass Christmas present, and what am I not gonna plug it in and play a game?
Also, I mean, we forced these people to watch us draft it, and we should probably play at least 1 game.
Maybe. All right, so let me fire back up the recording on the audio side of things, and we'll continue the show by saying, all right, well, that's going to wrap up our arena draft. Again, tune in next week before the show where we're going to play this deck. Chat room has convinced us, though. We will play 1 game after the show is over. Just 1, maybe. Yeah. Or maybe our triple-headed chicken plan for next week will change randomly out of nowhere for no particular reason at all. We can always draft another deck, right? Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, but anyways, hope you enjoyed that. Before we move into crazy game stories, we do want to thank our patrons. Those of you supporting us monetarily over at patreon.com/TAC. There are hundreds of you over there, and we very much appreciate the support because, hey, Dills, you and I, and Jocelyn, this is a big part of how we make our living.
Yes.
So
The biggest.
Yes.
The biggest part.
Yes, it is a very large chunk of how I keep a roof over my head. So we very much appreciate it. If you like the Angry Chicken, if you get some value from the show and you want to give some value back, head on over to patreon.com/TAC and give whatever works for you, $1 an episode, $2 an episode. We really appreciate it. On this episode, though, we want to thank the following patrons. Thank you to Peter B., Ken T., and Nico C. We appreciate the support. And thank you for being our very kind bosses that don't get on us when we clock in late. Now, let's take a crazy game story.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
You can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Gordon is our story purveyor this week and says, "Greetings, provoked penguin podcasters." I love penguins. This was back before the patch. I forgot to submit, but still the most insane game I played in 5 years of playing this game, featuring Garrett's favorite card. This one's for you. I already know where this is going. I was playing Spiteful Priest and ran into a mage on the ladder. Phew, not a warlock. I built my board for several turns, but my heart began to sink as I realized the deck I was playing against. Leyline Manipulator OTK Mage. As the game went on, my board kept getting larger and larger, but the mage refused to let me play the game, freezing my board turn after turn with ice block up. Eventually, I finally break through the 2 ice blocks, but by this point, the mage has dug through his entire deck and I know the end is nigh, as the mage has a pile of 0 mana Sorcerer's Apprentices in hand. The mage draws a bunch, freezes my board again, and passes. I cannot have long to live. My only hope at this point is to find a miracle or a charge minion free from Amber. Instead, what do I find? Mayor Noggenfogger. I laugh and hover my mouse over the concede button before I realize that might just be my ticket to winning the game. If he can't actually target my face with his fireballs, shouldn't that be a win? I send a blessings to my opponent and drop the Nog onto the board, protected by 3 large minions. My opponent hovers his mouse over the good mare, sends his regards, and proceeds with his combo. Antonitis, source, Molten Reflection on a source, Molten Reflection on another source. I can do nothing more than pray that the fireballs kill off 2 of his sorcerers or his Antonitis before Nog commits suicide. First fireball. It hits Tony. Phew. More outs. Second. Sorcerer. Yes, 1 more to go. Third. One of my minions killing it. No, Nog, please, not like this. Fourth, the second source. Victory! In the most unlikely way possible, I have killed off the mage's combo and he concedes the game. All praise the Nog god. Despite him almost giving me heart attacks with each of the 4 fireball casts. Love the podcast. Keep up the awesome work. Well, congratulations, Gordon, on winning a game you deserve to lose.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Noggenfogger is there's a wild streamer who goes by Dane, and I was actually talking to him about coming on the show because he's a wild streamer. Maybe we might be able to grab him next week, maybe. But I remember watching a similar situation where he was playing against a mage, an OTK mage. The mage started doing all their combo stuff. He had Sneed's old Shredder on the board. And the mage decided to BM and kill the Shredder, and Noggenfogger came out of the Shredder. And then he shot another fireball, and it friggin' hit Noggenfogger. So he ended up not even actually working out, but it's like it gave him a chance. It was pretty interesting. But that is, if there is ever a legitimate use for Noggenfogger, it is that. It is potentially stopping OTK fireball combos.
Pretty much, yeah. It's the emergency button, right? We talked about Yogg in this way back when he was at his high point.
But the thing is, it only really affects things in a way like that makes it can't. Your minions can't attack like friendly minions or your own face. Like it still uses like regular targets out of like what those are. So obviously, fireball can go anywhere. But that's why it's just not ever actually that useful, because it's only that one edge case where it ever actually comes up. You can't just play Noggenfogger and screw up like all your opponent's attacks in a meaningful way, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Will forever be a meme card, unfortunately.
But Gordon, thank you for that, and thank you for dedicating it in my honor. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I do know I feel like reading some more emails. Let's go.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello?
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep. Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to the same place, tacpodcast@gmail.com. Dills, you want to start us off?
Let's do this. Joshua Castro White sends us an email. Says, "Greetings, my fine feathered flock of furious fowls." Wow, alliteration. Great job. My comment comes in regards to the new Kingsbane Rogue, or whatever the deck is called, that keeps buffing its dagger and hitting you in the face for 15 lifesteal damage. My issue or concern with lifesteal is that the health returned is based on the damage dealt, not the health removed from the card damaged. When initially introduced, this didn't bother me much, as no major lifesteal decks existed, but with this new rogue, it makes the issue seem more apparent. In the past, Blizzard has made it known that they want card interactions and verbiage to be as intuitive as possible, especially for new players, but a mechanic called lifesteal seems like it should be restoring the amount of life stolen from the hit target, not restoring 15 for killing a 1/1. Is this just me, or does the mechanic seem like it's a little off base? If so, do you think Blizzard would ever consider changing or nerfing a card mechanic like that? Anyways, keep up the good work, y'all, and take care. I don't think you're necessarily wrong for thinking that it's a little strange, but I also think that the mechanic needs to work in the way it is to ever have a chance to be good. If it wasn't that, it would be so terrible. Because even now, it's not that good. Right, but it would be so terrible that it would not see any play at all, and it would just totally suck. So it's just based on it's just got to be based on one thing or the other. And all right, and then the other argument for the way that it works now, it is maybe the most intuitive, that it just always is the damage that you deal, because then like you can always kind of calculate it, right? Whereas if you're a newer player and it's like, what? I hit you for 15. Why did I only get 1? Right? It's like, oh, because he only had 1. It's like, I don't know. It might be a little more confusing for people right off the bat. So I see what you're saying, and I don't think you're wrong necessarily, but I think that the mechanic is actually okay where it's at. Yes, it is annoying when a guy life steals for 15 when he kills a 1/1, but that doesn't happen often enough. And it's really hard to set that up, that situation. It's just, the mechanic would be too weak, I think, if it was changed like that.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of... It brings me over to his side of the fence a little bit, because I think about if it was built the way he is suggesting. I mean, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Like, I could remove this minion, but I'm not going to get full heal value off of it, so maybe I should just go face. Like, that's an interesting choice to make.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense. It would change how you'd play the mechanic, but I don't know. It's like if I pyroblast you, I still did 10 damage, right?
Yeah.
Even if I pyroblasted a 1/1. If I hit you with a 10 attack dagger that has lifesteal, I still dealt 10 damage, even if I only killed a 1/1.
Yeah.
So it's like it wouldn't quite make sense the other way either. It is like there's a lot of weird stuff though. Like I don't really like the way Explosive Runes works with Divine Shield.
I hate the way it works with Divine Shield. I think it's bad design. Really
lame and unintuitive, right? I think there's two ways that they could have gone with that. It could soak up all the damage, like as if it were like I'm hitting you with a 10 attack dagger into a 1/1 with a Divine Shield. I dealt 0 damage, right?
Yep.
Or it should deal 1 damage to it, kill the shield, and then deal 5 damage to the face. Right?
Yep.
One or the other.
It's a judgment call there. I lean towards it should deal 0 damage because in my head that's what Divine Shields are soaking up all damage being done.
It's infinite damage one time, right? Like that it soaks. So
yeah. Not to mention
there are definitely things in the game that I feel like are a little bit funky and unintuitive, and you could make the argument that this is one of them. But I don't feel like Lifesteal would see any play or be any good at all if it worked in if it was nerfed in the slightest, because it's not very good right now. So
yeah,
that deck is interesting though. It's a really fun deck to play. It's just still not very good. It's just too inconsistent, right?
Yeah. It's I don't know. I mean, it certainly preys on certain decks, but yeah,
sure.
I'm with you.
But every time I see somebody play Kingsbane in a rogue, I just think, cool, I won. Like I'm just never that scared of that deck.
I am.
I just feel like I always beat it.
I'm annoyed, much like I used to be with Melrogue. It would come out, and I'm like, I know I'm going to win, but God, this game is going to be annoying.
It's
Like,
gonna be stupid. Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
yeah. That's how I feel against Kingsbane Rogue right now. And I was so excited for Kingsbane, but really, in practice, man, I just don't like it.
Yeah, it's like Cthulhu was more fun as a mechanic of like watching something get bigger and bigger. With Kingsbane Rogue is just like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like I'm never that scared of your weapon. I'm just not.
Yeah. Well, our final email today comes to us from Soldier Hawk, who says, "Hey, TAC crew, I, like many folks, am not a free-to-play player, but I'm pretty close. In many ways, this is the worst of both worlds. I spend my $50 on pre-orders and earn my free packs with brawls and gold. But I still never seem to have all the cards I want. I always seem to be missing that one legendary or just those few epics to construct the deck I want to play. And it really, really feels bad. I end up playing the game just to earn more cards instead of playing the game with the decks I want. I was paging rather disgruntledly through my collection the other day when I had an epiphany. I do not need all these cards. Sure, I'm a completionist at heart, and my ultimate goal is have every card, but I don't dedicate nearly enough time or money to Hearthstone for that to be realistic. Once I realized that, I sat down and made myself a list of 5 or 6 decks and 3 or 4 classes I know I really want to play. And then do you know what I did? I went through and dusted most of the legendaries and epics from all of the other classes. I know I'm never going to play Paladin. I don't like playing Paladin. So what good is that nice shiny Tyrion doing me just sitting there gathering dust? So dust he and many others became. With my newfound crafting capability, I went ahead and crafted the legendaries and epics for the decks and classes I really want to play. So I have a full-on Kingsbane Rogue now, a secret mage, several flavors of warlock, and the cards to build other types of decks in the classes I really want to focus on. And most of all, I am happy. I'm playing what I want instead of playing simply to collect, and it's fantastic. I'm sure there will come a day when a really cool Paladin deck will come out and I feel a twinge of regret over not having Tyrion anymore, but that's okay. Personally, at least, I think I have found a way to keep Hearthstone sustainable for me, and more importantly, fun. Thanks for the years of entertainment, Scion Soldier Hawk." Yeah, this is... I don't think we've really talked about this in a very, very long time, but this is certainly a strategy you can employ.
Sure.
Albeit one that like Soldier Hawk even puts forth here, like, yeah, maybe one day I'm really going to regret getting rid of that Tyrion. I would say that day might come very soon if Tyrion goes into the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, if you're playing on a budget, this needs to be done. I do this to some extent. I don't get rid of big legendaries usually unless they're just completely useless. But I do go through and get rid of quite a few cards from classes I play significantly less when there's something kind of more in the forefront I want to play right now and I don't want to spend any extra money.
Sure. You can also generally find the terrible epics and things, like the cards that are just never going to be good, the meme legendaries. Those are the ones that are fairly safe. I would struggle dusting cards that could potentially one day see play. But also like on my free-to-play accounts, on my Asia and EU accounts, I basically just dust anything that's golden. This is not a place where golden cards exist. Like, those are just extra dust for me. But I still kind of hold on to just about everything and I just build around it. But I see when that's not my main account. I have on my main account basically all the cards. So I don't have this like thing where I'm like, damn, I wish I could play this and I can't, because I can just go to my main account and play it. So then I just like build around it on those. So I think you kind of have to bite the bullet if it is your main account and just do what you got to do so that you can play and have a good time. Because the worst thing you can do is play Hearthstone and just feel bad all the time, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Don't do that.
And Soldier Hawk framed it in such a great way. It was all about personal preference. What is Soldier Hawk here trying to accomplish? How does Soldier want to play? Because some people probably enjoy playing to collect, and that's absolutely fine. But Soldier Hawk kind of zeroed in on on the crux of the issue. So
like that, I kind of do this like for Magic the Gathering, right? Because I know I'm never going to spend enough money to have a lot of decks. So basically I took all my cards that were worth something, put them all into a binder, and then went and started like trading and selling, so I could make one decent modern deck, and one decent friggin' commander deck, right? And now I have a decent commander deck and a semi-decent modern deck, and I'm like, cool, I'm done. And I don't have all these awesome cards that might have been good if I could ever, collect the thousands of dollars worth of other cards that would be required to make those decks happen. So, if you're on a budget and it's like you just have playable fun decks for you, and that'll get you there. So it does feel bad though, man. So there's a couple things that I really wish they would do. I wish that they would up the disenchant value of at least legendaries, right? Feels really bad to dust a legendary for 400 dust for a quarter of another legendary, right? I would love to see you be able to get 800 dust for that, right? Or something like that. I would also love to see you be able to upgrade to a gold legendary for half the cost if you already have the legendary, rather than having to do it for 32, like you dust for 400 and then you pay 3,200 to get it. So it's just like, oh my God, it never feels viable. So I don't know. I just feel like the game has outgrown its original
pricing structure,
testing values, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to hear no pushback here. I mean, what the hell am I going to say? Like, yes, no, I want to keep paying more dust.
I want to keep paying.
Like, no, I think I completely agree with you. It's kind of asinine now.
Yeah.
Blizzard, especially, I don't have much of an opinion on Overwatch, but in Heroes, I think they're doing the same thing. Ever since they implemented gems, I just don't collect anything anymore in that game. And in Hearthstone, my mindset for the most part is I'm just going to stick to the budget I have set for myself, and beyond that, I'm not even going to think about it because the way there is no real satisfying gamification to collecting in this game.
Sure. I mean, for me, my main goal on my main account is to just be able to make any deck I ever want to make at any moment. So, and I will continue to spend according to that for myself, right? But, like I play enough that it still doesn't require me to spend like $300 every time an expansion comes out. It's $100 something, but it's, that is also like the budget I am okay with for myself, right? It's like I play the game enough that's worth it to me. But if Hearthstone is a hobby for you, spending $300 a year on it is not. That doesn't jive, right?
Yeah, so. I typically pay $50 for the pre-order, another $70 for a max amount of stacks of packs you can buy, and that's usually it. So I spend about $360 a year.
And whatever amount of gold you've accrued throughout that period of time, right?
Yeah. So that comes in. So my budget is basically $360 a year. I do buy more from time to time, usually when generous people donate to me. But
sure.
But yeah, that's basically it of my own money.
And that gets you most of the way there, honestly.
Yeah.
If you're playing enough Hearthstone, because like right now I'm at almost 4,000, 4,500 gold, something like that. So by the time the next expansion rolls around, I will be able to buy like 60 something packs with just the gold, right? And that's just because I play so much freaking Hearthstone. So it's like if you do that model, then and you buy the pre-order plus, like what you said, you end up getting, you're opening like 200 packs or something like that. It's a lot of packs, and it'll get you most of the way there. And then you're dusting a lot of stuff. So, but it still does feel like, with the amount of epics and legendaries that they're introducing with each expansion now, it's like the model just has to change at some point, or else you're just driving people away from the game. I think you're making less money.
Yeah, I think so too. They just need to make it a little more accessible. We've mentioned multiple times that they already have taken steps to make it a little more accessible. But yeah, I think it's time to look at some of the core in-game economy and make some adjustments.
Yeah. Like, and also things like at this point, earning a classic pack every week from a brawl doesn't really do much for me. Like it's like. I really would like to see them kind of overhaul the whole thing and allow you to generate the collection that you want, right? Like go down the path you want to go down. Or play
the way you want to gain the free stuff.
Rather than only classic packs being offered, it's like, let me choose. Like, what if I'm trying to build a wild collection, right? Like I have no real way other than spend money. and that's a little hard, man. That's hard.
Yeah,
for
you
some
got
people.
loot specialization, man. Add it from World of Warcraft. Like, open it up and you click the little icon. It's a mammoth icon for this year and whatever the hell it'll be next year, and it'll be your standard. Or there's a little vine icon if you want it to be wild.
Yeah. Let me earn some older packs or specific packs.
Yeah. Some player choice
There's
would
just
be
many,
cool.
many things, and I would love to sit in a room with the Hearthstone team and just be like, you guys, I think we're missing money right now. I think we are making less money than we could because we're giving away too little, and we're not providing people that little boost that makes them want to spend, $20.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So, well, thank you for your emails, everybody. Thank you for your game stories. Keep them coming to tacpodcast@gmail.com. That is going to wrap up this week's Angry Chicken. Before we go, thank you again to our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC. Again, that's the best way to support the show, so go check it out. Huge thanks to our producers, Declan H., Michael N., Sean C., Johnny S., LVE. You are extremely generous, and we appreciate the support. You can pick up some Angry Chicken swag. We have t-shirts over at shirts.amove.tv. We also have custom etched glassware available at etched.amove.tv. The same folks bringing you those fine custom etched winning pint glasses for taco. There is an Angry Chicken over there, Angry Chicken pint glass available over there that anyone can get. It's just not absolutely one of a kind, but it is still hand etched. So go check it out. Follow the show on Twitter at TAC Podcast and join us Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/AMoveTV for the live show. Before we go, Dills, you do a lot of other stuff. Where can people find more of you around the web?
I'm gonna forgo my normal plugging to just tell everyone out there to hug your pet and love your pet because basically the day you buy a dog or a cat or something like that you're setting yourself up for a future day of sadness that my friend just went through recently. So just get all the love you can out of your animals. Treat them good.
Oh no, I didn't know about that.
Love those little buddies.
We had a similar.
I hugged Iggy extra this morning because it is the saddest thing ever. So
yeah, we went through that right before Christmas.
Yeah, it's the worst, man. It's the friggin' worst.
Is absolute crap. So yeah. Well, shoot.
Don't miss a day. Don't miss a day that you can.
It's hard to follow that. I'm gonna just say do it twice.
Yeah, do it extra.
Do it
All the
extra.
time.
Do it extra, and follow Jocelyn on Twitter. She's not here to tell you herself, but Joss Plays, and check out her show, The Gamer's In, and their new short run show covering Sea of Thieves, which I just tried and is really fun. Dills, you need to get in on that. I want to pillage and plunder with you, sir.
Okay, I'm down.
So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week. And if you watch live, be here early to watch Triple Headed Chicken. But until then, job's done.
Job's done. Job's done. Yes!
All
All right, let's play one of these arena games.